All right, close your eyes for a moment, and I want you to tell me something that you will hear or a few things that you hear right now while your eyes are closed, sitting in class. You might hear, if you're at home, you might hear your dog barking or possibly mom cooking lunch in the kitchen. Maybe you're listening to a fan that's running. Right now, I can hear somebody playing on the playground from our classroom. Those are sounds that we hear all the time. And sounds, you learned yesterday, are vibrations that move through the air. So if I have my bell here and I were to ring this bell, how does this sound of this bell get to my ear or get to your ear? Well, yesterday you learned that when something makes a noise, like that bell sound, it vibrates the air and it hits the inside of your ear called your eardrum. And then your eardrum also vibrates and it sends it to different parts of your body that sends it to your brain and it lets your brain hear that bell. So I want you to tell some out loud what happens when I click the bell, the doorbell. I'm going to ring a doorbell. And I want you to speak out loud and say, how did this doorbell ring from here and how did the sound get to your ear? It'll be the same way that you heard the bell ringing, will be the same way you hear the doorbell ringing. So let's click it. Okay, so what happened when I dung the doorbell? What did it do to the air? It vibrated the particles in the air, and that vibration sent it to our eardrum. And then from our eardrum, it sent it to our brain, and it had our brain hear a doorbell. So that's how sound works. Watch a video as a recap of what we learned yesterday about sound vibrating the particles in the air and going to our ears. Then we will learn two vocabulary words that we will need to learn about sound.
Cover your eyes for a moment and just listen. What do you hear? I hear my chemistry set bubbling and squeaks. Is that you? Sounds are all around us all the time. There are so many of them, and we call sounds by a lot of different names. Like if a sound is really loud and kind of unpleasant, like when there's a lot of traffic going by, we sometimes call it noise. And if a sound is made by an instrument like a piano or a ukulele, we call it a note. And we call lots of notes together music. And some words are kind of like the sounds themselves. Like when fireworks go boom, popcorn pops, and bells go ding-a-ling. It doesn't matter what makes a sound though. All sounds are made the same way, through vibrations. When something vibrates, it moves back and forth really fast. So fast, in fact, that our eyes often can't see it moving. But other parts of our body can sense vibrations, and I bet you know what parts those are. That's right, our ears. So how does sound get from, say, a bell to our ears? The air all around us is made of tiny particles, and these particles are what carry sound. We can use marbles to demonstrate the teeny tiny particles that make up the air. Let's see how. If we put a few marbles together so they're touching, then roll another marble so that it crashes into them, the group of marbles will move. That's kind of what happens with sound. When we ring a bell, we cause the metal that makes up the bell to vibrate really fast back and forth. And the vibration of the bell also shakes up the particles that make up the air around it and makes them vibrate. Then those particles run into the air particles next to them, and so on. You can also think about it like dominoes, with the vibration getting passed along from one bunch of particles in the air to the next. We call this path of vibration a wave. Now, how do we hear those vibrations? If we could look deep inside our ears, we'd see a special little part that kind of looks like the top of a drum. When sound waves make it all the way to and into our ears, they make this part of our ear vibrate. The vibrations keep going, moving even deeper into our ear until they finally get to the spot that sends a message to our brain. And that message says, "Hey, we're hearing something!"
Great video, and it kind of reminded us and it gave us a picture of what sound looks like when it travels. It goes from the noise that we're making, vibrates the air, travels to our eardrum, to our brain, and it vibrates the air so fast that we don't see it moving. When I watched that video, one thing I noticed though is my volume was low. I tried making my volume higher so that we could hear the video better, and for some reason my computer volume would not work. Have you ever heard of the word volume before? When do you use volume? When do you use that word volume? How about when you're watching TV and mom and dad are trying to do some work in the office and you're in the living room watching TV and they might say, "Can you turn the volume down?" Okay, that might be one way we do it. Or, "I can't hear that. Can you turn the volume up?" That's one way we do it with our TV. What else do we use volume for? When do you ever hear the word volume? How about in the car when you're listening to a song on the radio? "Mom, can you turn the volume up? I can't hear it in the back." And mom would turn the volume up. It makes something louder. So that, look at this picture here. A siren makes a loud noise. The volume on that is loud. Makes a soft sound. So that's the difference between a siren and a whisper. They have different volumes. One is soft and one is loud. So volume is how loud or how soft something is. Another word that we're going to focus on this week is pitch. Now, pitch is a vocabulary word that we will use often when we study sound. And pitch is how high or how low a sound is. And I thought this would be really cool to use a glass jar that I have here. And I want to see if you can, I hope the volume's good and you can hear it well, but I'm going to make this make a sound. It's my jar and nothing's in the jar. Okay, you heard that? Now I'm going to add just a little bit of water. And I want to see it's the same jar, same pen that I'm using to hit it, but let's listen to the sound this makes. We'll take the water out, do it again, water in, put a little bit more water in, a little more water in. You see that this is making a different noise? The pitch changed. It went from low, well, now I can just do it with this one because now there's no water in this one, to high. The pitch changed. Pitch is how low a sound is or how high a sound is. And what I love is that that was such a cool little experiment. You could see if mom has some glass jars around the house, and all you need is glass, water, and something to hit it with. And you can hear different pitches. So a pitch is a sound you hear, whether it be low, low, like maybe a daddy's voice, or high, like maybe a baby voice. That's the change of pitch. So volume is how loud or soft. Pitch is how low or how high a sound is. You can hear different pitches and different things. And we talked about it, I think, yesterday. The piano has a low and a high. So those are some important words that we are needing to know in with sound. In our lesson today, you will have a worksheet that will be attached to this lesson. You will be, let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I have it up here. Let me look and see. Just a second. I do not have it on here. So, but you will see it attached right underneath this lesson. You will see a worksheet and go ahead and fill it in. It'll be for pitch or volume if something is loud or soft. Okay? I love you. I look forward to learning a lot more about sound with you. And then we will look forward to Friday when we have an experiment. We'll see you then.